Thank you, Pradeep. So the next we have a talk on startup as a career. I would like to invite Mr. Regan from Zomato. He is the AVP. Also, Mr. Rajat Malhotra from Twitter. Ms. Mithili Ramesh, she is the co-founder at Next Wealth. And Mr. Ankit Raval from InMobi.
Good evening to all of you, and welcome to the session on startup as a career. I think you've been through a whole lot of sessions today morning, and it should have been very interesting. I think this session is very, very critical from the point of view of a lot of you wanting to embark on making this as a career choice. Today, if you look at Bangalore, there's a whole lot of startups. It's just brimming over with excitement, and it's like a cauldron bubbling over with a lot of startup ideas. And I'm sure a lot of you want to have a piece of the action. Now is the time. And while Bangalore earlier, I think, used to be a term used more for BPO business out of Bangalore, I think now it is more for the startup culture which is there as far as Bangalore is concerned. I have here with me a very eminent team of panelists who are going to share their experience with you. We have, before I introduce them, let me just, I've been asked to actually quickly share my own experience, and then I'm going to turn it over to them to share their experience. I completed about 20 years in Wipro and quit when I was a senior VP. That was the time, I did 2 startups in Wipro myself. One was in the e-auctions area in the 2000 .com boom time. And then second was when we set up the entire BPO business in Wipro from scratch after our acquisition of SpectraMind. The third one now is about Next Wealth. And I'm just going to share my thoughts on Next Wealth. Next Wealth is basically into, we do execute IT as well as BPM and content management work out of small towns. And this is done at a level of excellence, operational excellence equivalent to that of a city, but at a fraction of the cost. The learnings, why did I make this transition from a large corporate to a startup? And my experience has been, and the learnings has been, and I would like to share in terms of the expectations that you should all be having. One would be in terms of, I would say that it is important to get a few years of experience before you embark on a startup. And hone your selling skills, marketing skills, customer skills, presentation skills. I think the organization in a corporate, it gives you the cushion to learn a lot of these things. Second, I would say, is to prepare yourself very well before you embark on this. And the preparation is in terms of, again, learning strategic thinking, creative thinking, and there's a lot of this is going to be tested when you actually do your startup. We have Regan from Zomato. They are going to introduce themselves a little more. We have Rajat from Twitter. We have Kapil from Twitter. And we have Ankit from InMobi. They've all done this transition from a corporate to a startup as a career. And I'm just going to ask you all to just quickly introduce what your organization does and about yourself before I get on to the questions.
Sure. Hi, I'm Regan. So I currently work for Zomato. I actually head their online ordering business for South India. We've launched about 5 months back. So it's a startup within a startup. Before this, I worked at Flipkart. Was a part of the launch team for the ebooks business. Again, a small startup within Flipkart as a startup. And then went on to do international business development for them for launching a lot of exclusives that you see being launched on Flipkart. Before that, I have worked with IBM and Infosys as a consultant, as I was a SAP consultant for them. And in between, I found time to run a restaurant and also I tried my hand at founding a technology-based startup which bombed. So that's about me.
Hi everyone, I'm Rajat. I'm heading the engineering for Twitter, and at Twitter, even though it's a large corporate, in India we are very small and starting up almost like a fresh startup. This is the only like R&D center outside of US and UK that Twitter is starting up, and they have acquired ZipDial, where I was heading the engineering earlier, about 6 months back, and from there we have started this center. Before joining Agile, I was with Naukri.com, which acquired my previous startup into the recruitment domain. So that's had been like my journey of startups, like in very, very short. So I think over to Kapil.
Yeah, hi guys, my name is Kapil. I'm heading the product management for Twitter in India. I started my career with Microsoft in Seattle, where I was part of the Bing search team. After that, I moved to Google, where I was a leading product for Google India. I was responsible for the emerging market efforts we had in Google India. Recently, I moved to Twitter. As Rajat said, we're a small 8 to 10 member team, where I had product for them. So that's been my journey so far.
Hi, I'm Ankit. I work for InMobi. I'm the general manager and country head for InMobi India. And I have a very funny story. My career started with InMobi and startup as a whole. So this is sometime 2008, 2009. This was a time when I was also dating and I had to actually go and sell to my father-in-law that I have to join a startup. And this is, imagine 2008, 2009, the gravy train of startups had not just started. And when I explained him that I'm someone who shows ads, those pesky ads which comes either on mobile, he would say, oh, so you want me to give my daughter to you because you show those pesky SMS? So I thought if I can sell him, I can sell anything in life, and that's what I've been doing at InMobi for the last 6 years. I've been selling in a lot of different geographies. I've sold in China, so I started learning Mandarin. I had a Chinese name to selling in Africa, where you eat anything that moves. So that's my journey till now in InMobi, currently managing InMobi India.
I'm sure there are a lot of people here in the audience who are wanting to start something on their own, or who are looking at joining an organization which is already a startup. And this entire session is basically about saying what are the expectations that they should have before they actually jump into this. With the exciting times which are there, everybody is there with stars in their eyes. Is it really as exciting, or is it some things that they need to expect and be aware of and be prepared for? So when you made the transition from corporate to the startup, first of all, why did you make the transition? How did you make the transition? Let's just hear that part from all of you first before we go on to the next one.
So in my case, I actually made a few transitions back and forth from startups into corporate culture, then back into startup. Primary reason is because I'm very restless. I always want something more to do. I think that probably would echo with everybody sitting here. So the restlessness is what caused me to jump into startups, start thinking about what can I do next, even within the organizations. Coming to the second part of the question, what to expect when you join a startup, or what should be your realistic expectations? Bloody-mindedness. Every startup that I've ever seen succeed is driven by bloody-mindedness, the ability to get things done despite all the lack of things that you have. Like, you will not have a proper office, you won't have people doing your, making you coffee, or as she said, you have to do your own photocopy, everything. So, but you still have to get stuff done, and that is what is marked. Secondly, for those who are looking to join a startup, right, I think even if you're not a founder, it's very important for you guys to believe in that idea. Right? You can't just join the startup because it's on the gravy train or going to get the next big round of funding. Because in startups, unless you really believe in that idea yourself, you'll be soon found out.
Awesome. So my first half of my career was into the big corporates and services industry, and then I made a transition. And the reason why I made a transition was part because I was bored. I wanted thrill in life. I wanted to do something new, and part to solve the real need that I was facing at that time, which was like recruitment. So I was at Headstrong, and I was handling a team of 15 guys, and we wanted to scale up rapidly, and couldn't find a single place where I can go and really get the good kind of quality of folks that I wanted to hire. So that's when I went and founded this company called Two Step, which was into the recruitment SaaS recruitment platform domain, which was acquired by Naukri. So in terms of learnings, I think I have had a lot of learnings, and probably an essay can be written about that. But in short, if I have to say a few things, I think apart from the co-founders, of course, as Regan was saying, co-founders have to believe in the idea. But as an employee, as a employee in a startup, you need to make sure that you have the expectations right. When I went and started two-step, I had this idea in mind that in next 2 to 3 years, I'll solve the problem, I'll exit, and I'll be a happy man going back to a normal, regular 10 to 8, 7 job, 10 to 6 job that we have in IT industry. But that doesn't happen. That's not the reality. Reality is that you end up spending 16 hours, 18 hours in a day trying to figure out how to solve that next problem that you're going to face. Every time while sleeping, while playing, while you are with family, with kids, you're always thinking about that next problem to solve. And that's what you need to expect out of you, that if you are ready to do that, yes, startups are for you.
We have about 10 minutes. I would like to open up for questions. Please just introduce yourself and short question. And also, please mention to whom it is addressed.
What are the different risks associated while joining a startup, and how to evaluate those risks?
As I can probably broadly classify them, there are 3 kinds of risks. The monetary risk is, of course, there. I think that's one of the biggest risks, because you are, if you're a co-founder, you're putting some amount of your own money into it with no clear regular income that is going to come, right? So with a corporate job, you at least know what you're going to make. You can make your financial decisions based on that. With the startup, you don't know. You can actually go either way. And for every probably startup that makes it big and becomes a unicorn with $1 billion valuation, there are another 10 who don't make it there, right? So financial is there. Secondly, it's also your professional, your own professional growth, right? If you go into a startup with the right mindset, you grow immensely. And as all of the gentlemen here have said, that you get to develop, you get to do so much. But it can backfire also, because you can feel so lost if you've not made the decision for the right, and it can really impact your professional growth. And the third, as I see it again, is it changes you completely, right? So that is a risk, whether you want to. It changes your family life. It changes your, every single aspect of your life. As Rajat was saying, that even when you're with your family or you're sleeping, you're always thinking about how to solve that next problem. Even if it's a Saturday, you're still thinking on Monday morning, what are the things that I have to do? So so those are the kind of risks that you take with your personal everything, health, personal growth, and financial biggest.
The previous sessions, we were told like we should not get married to a particular idea. And now, as you told that, like if the idea is not working, we should not lose the self-belief. We should maybe for an initial 6 months it can excel, and the next 6 months it can quickly come down. So we should not quit our idea, and if we have the self-belief in our vision. And as one more thing we discussed, like it is not bad to make a U-turn also. Suppose initially you started with some idea, but you thought after some time it is not working out. You should not hesitate in switching out to take a U-turn. So I just wanted to know, like, what suggestions would you like to share on identifying a situation or to decide a better way, like when it's the correct time to make a U-turn from your original idea? How can we decide better? Because at a startup, we may not have enough experience on deciding on those kind of aspects. So what would you like to suggest on that?
We started with, the first thing you start with is like, what is your target customer you want to target? Because you have to be very, very clear on that. Like, who are you targeting in the first 6 months to 1 year? Once you've identified him or her, then you go after what are the user needs? What are the top needs that user has? So you understand, like you talk to those users, you understand what their top needs are, and you build some hypotheses, like these are the set of ideas that can address these needs for these users. And then what you got to do is you got to build a product idea, like this is how I'm going to target those user needs, and you quickly get market validation. So you talk to like maybe people who you respect in that industry, and you essentially talk to them, and quickly you iterate over, like, not more than a few days. You quickly iterate, like, does this have enough market? Does this have enough problem? And once you get some validation, then I would say you quickly move in. You quickly move into an MVP. 3 months, don't think. You essentially move to something that you can launch and don't think in that 3 months. Once you have done the identification of a target customer, identification of the user needs, validated it with business, you move into a 3-month prototype where you don't think otherwise. And after 3 months, you get some feedback from real users, and then you evaluate whether you want to make a U-turn or not, but not before that. They don't continuously keep iterating, essentially, is the big point.
Yeah, and when it is said that, you know, you should not be married to your idea, but rather flirt with it, is exactly the same thing. That, you know, don't get stuck on a single, you know, hard fixed idea that this is what I'm going to do, and whether or not it is. So you will get enough signals from market, you will get enough signals from your customers that this is not working out really. So when you start up, you have a business idea, you have a target audience in mind, you know how much is the market that you're gonna capture depending on how many competitors are there in the market. If you are not even able to capture a fraction of it in like 3 months to 6 months time frame, again it is very important to like time box these hypotheses and time box the time to prove it. So if you are unable to prove it, you need to iterate. So instead of like withdrawing that complete idea, can you look from the feedback from market, iterate a bit? I have been involved in 3 startups, and all 3, the way they started and the way they you know are today is completely different. It's probably, you know, not the same thing. It's probably you know, wouldn't have been what it is today if the co-founders had been fixed on one or married to a single idea.
Be prepared in terms of your work-life balance. But I always believe that if you are really passionate about what you're doing, it is always about life. There is no balance. It is just life and life, not work-life. And it basically broadens your horizons. So it's a roller coaster ride, but you are there to enjoy the ride, not really look at just completing the ride for the sake of it. Thank you.
I would like to invite Mr. Jay Shankar Sharma for distributing the mementos.